Hey guys, it's Othania here with Create Your Future. So today we're going to talk about living in the end explained. I'm going to get into a deep and thorough explanation of living in the end, and by the end of this video you should definitely have a better understanding of it. And I intend that you maneuver the way you manifest in a totally more easier way, and you understand everything in a just an easier sense. Know that Create Your Future is giving out a free course, so if you're interested in that, definitely check out the description box below. There's a link for that. And also, if you're interested in coaching from me, there's also a link for that in the description box below. So living in the end, you're always living in the end of something on a daily basis. You're moving more towards living in the end towards what you want, or you're living more towards in the end of what you don't want. And you live in the end here. You don't live in the end in the 3D, really. The 3D is just a result of where you were living at here. So let me give an example. So say like you have $5,000 in your bank account, okay? You're feeling good, you got the money in your bank account, on top of the world, woohoo, nobody is stopping you. You start spending your money, and then you start feeling anxiety towards your purchases. You start feeling scared about the more money that you spend, and you see your bank account declining. As you keep doing things like that on a daily, living in that story of being afraid, you're going to live in the end of not being as abundant as you were in the beginning, because now you've built that momentum of being afraid to spend money, of having anxiety towards spending, towards your purchases. So now you're becoming the version of yourself that doesn't feel abundant, that doesn't trust your universe, that doesn't trust that your universe has your back. So you're gonna live in the end of having not what you want, because that's where you're living here mostly consistently on a daily basis. Now, so you have that same $5,000 and you feel good, you feel optimistic, you feel good about your purchases. When you spend, you're not worried, you're feeling at peace. If you're living more in that end on a daily basis as time goes on, you're living in a different end of reality. Same starting point with the 5,000, same starting point, but your thoughts that you're dwelling in, once you live from that starting point in your mind, would determine what end that you're going to live in. So it's going to determine if you're going to live in this end over here, which is what you don't want, or it's going to determine that you're going to live in this end over here, which is the reality that you do want, from whatever your starting point of your desire. Okay, so let's give another example. You're with your person, you're feeling great, you're feeling confident. Woo, I'm in this great relationship. The beginning is so awesome. And then 3 months set in, and the next thing you know, you start feeling like, okay, this is the 3 months. You know, what if they start noticing my flaws? What if they start finding somebody else attractive? What if they're not into me the same way that I'm into them? You just start thinking about all these different scenarios of what can go wrong. Okay, see, now once you start doing that from that starting point, and you're thinking about what can go wrong, now you're going to push yourself to live in the end of the reality that you don't want. Now, same scenario, you with your person, dating is first started, you're feeling good, confident, woohoo. Same 3 months go by, but you're feeling good. You're feeling like, yeah, this person wants me. I'm the freaking best choice. Nobody would ever want to choose me. Nobody would ever want to choose anyone else over me. They always want to choose me. There's no competition. I always have the best experiences in my relationships. This person totally loves me. Every time we get together, we have a great time. We communicate all the time. And even when there's times when we don't communicate, I know that person's going to get right back to me. See, if you're coming from that way of thinking, you're pushing yourself to live in the end of the reality that you want, because you remember, living in the end is here. Living in the end is here. And then you just experience whatever end that you were giving your subconscious, whatever you were feeding your subconscious, the more negative, low frequency of thinking, or the high positive frequency of thinking. Whatever which way you feed it is the end that you're going to live in. So you're always living in the end towards something by what you're dominantly thinking. Okay, so, and you can always tell in the present moment where you're living by what you're constantly thinking. So say like if you, okay, whatever, you haven't had contact with your SP for like 5-6 months, and then every day you're waking up checking your phone, you're waking up and you're checking their social media, and you're telling your friends, oh my god, they still haven't spoken to me yet, and you're still feeling those pings in your chest every time you notice that they're not contacting you yet. That is you living in the end and being the version of you that doesn't have it. Now, how do you live in the end and be the version of you that does have it? Well, on a day-by-day basis, on a daily basis, you have to understand this is a process, and that every day you're getting closer to the end that you want by telling yourself, no, actually I am chosen, actually I do get what I want, actually there's no competition, because why would I even disrespect myself in my own head anyway? Everything that I want comes to me. My life is wonderful. Isn't it wonderful how wonderful my life is? Isn't it awesome how everything I want, my best desires just come to me with ease? That is the version of you that lives in the end of the reality that they want, that they have, obviously, right? Because you are thinking what you are observing. That lets you know what end you're living in. So if I had $1 million today, and I began to get fearful about losing my $1 million, you can guarantee that I would begin to take inspired action that would lead me on a bridge of events that would lead me to lose my $1 million, as opposed to me having my $1 million, feeling good about it, knowing that my life is great, knowing that my life is about to upgrade 1,000,000 times more, knowing that I'm going to invest and get money back, just having those better thoughts and feeling good about my purchases, feeling good about what I'm spending, giving to those who I want to give to without feeling like I'm not going to get nothing back. That would be me living in the end of most likely doubling my money, tripling my money, because of where I'm living here, my thoughts about it here. So you're always living in the end of something. You're always moving towards living in the end of what you don't want, or you're moving towards living in the end of what you do want. And how you stay living in the end of what you do want is by being aware, knowing yourself and knowing what you're thinking, and being on top of your thoughts. The version of you that isn't aware lets their mind get out of control. They let themselves spiral over and over and over and over again. They chase things outside of themselves. They live in the end of not having, which is why they continue not to have, because your world and your subconscious mind has no choice but to perpetuate what you're dominantly thinking. So you just gotta take a deep breath. You feel yourself thinking the anxiety, being the version of you that doesn't have it. Take a deep breath. Take another deep breath if you need to. Take as many deep breaths as you need to until you calm down some. You tell yourself, listen, no, this is the way I'm thinking now. I'm living in the end of what I want. And I know that on a daily basis, every day, I'm getting closer to what I want. Why? Because my thoughts are becoming more favorable towards what I want. Life is nothing but a physical manifestation of where you've been living in the end here. That is it. So live in the end of where you want. You want to be the healthiest version of yourself? Yeah, I am the healthiest version of myself. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. Because when you are the healthiest version of yourself, that is how you think. You are not the healthiest version of yourself thinking that you're unhealthy. It doesn't make sense. You are the healthiest version of yourself. You are the wealthiest version of yourself. You are the most prosperous version of yourself. You have the best relationships. You always get chosen. And that's where you go every day. It's okay if you have your days where you don't feel perfect about, what you're affirming and living in the end of your mind about. That's okay, because you know what? For years, you probably been living in the end of somewhere where you don't want to be, and your body was so accustomed and your nervous system was so accustomed to feeling anxiety in situations that felt so normal that you got to understand that you got to give your body time and grace to shift into the version of yourself that is a better version of yourself. Okay, give yourself that grace. You deserve all the grace. Give yourself that grace. Okay, so living in the end is a process that is never ending, because you're always thinking, and once you're aware of your thoughts, you stay on top of them. You notice that every day you're living in the end towards what you do want, and that is the goal. That is the goal. And that's why you're here, so you can get the knowledge, get the tools to move yourself to the next step. Because if you weren't trying to get the tools and move yourself to the next step, that would keep you stagnant. And so kudos to yourself, most importantly, for seeking the knowledge you need that's going to take you to the next level. So you're living in the end more and more towards what you do want, the more that you find yourself doing this, because your brain is now getting the repetition and getting accustomed to a new way of thinking, which will automatically push out a new way of life for you. So yeah, living in the end is a natural process. And once you become aware of your thoughts, once you stay on top of it and you stay on top of your self-concept, think better of yourself and connection to everything that it is that you want, you will see that you find yourself living in the end and being in the reality that you do want to be in. So that's all I have for today, and I intend that something I said has definitely made something click for you even more, and I intend that you definitely get to live out all your beautiful desires. So until next time.